Hello, this is Mike here, and I'm going to have this next little lesson. It's kind of a bonus or optional. I just call them the road trip extra lessons, okay? And it's that most people know how to pack, like I mentioned in another lesson, that a lot of people know how to pick out a hotel. But in case you don't, or you'd like to know something else additional, or like how I go about it, this is where this kind of course would come in. It's an optional thing, but I do believe in my years of doing this, to go into different states for a long time. I got, 30-something years of experience and 15 years as a tourism professional, by which I advise other people. So this is probably good advice, I believe. However, does this fit you and your team? I have no idea. So I'm just going to say how I go about, or finding food anyway, and how I go about telling other people about how to find food or find places to go eat. Anyway, this is going to be. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a road trip course, so that means if it's not just you, obviously if it's just you, you can eat wherever you want. If it's a bunch of you, then obviously you're going to have to go with the majority of the team, or you're going to have to find a way to sort of go separately. And I never, ever advise separate, simply because it always ends up wasting time, and it always ends up coming up with bad feelings that people kind of go around. For example, if you go to a place that you just wanted to go, 3 of you went over here, and you were the one that went over here. And then whenever you were over here, there were some people just causing trouble, or anyway, or you didn't get your food right, or it's just taking forever because you ordered the redfish or something, and it just took forever to cook it. Then everybody else is going to be like, "Hey, where are you at?" And it's like, "I haven't even got my food yet." It's just like, "What? Oh, but we got to get back on the road." It's like, "But I haven't even got my meal." And it's like, you see what I'm saying? When other people are concerned, or you got your meal, and the 3 of them, because they wanted to go somewhere nicer, didn't get their meal yet because somebody in the kitchen fumbled it, or they did something, and now they're delayed, or they went at a really busy time, it could delay the whole group. So having sort of a conversation, but just kind of picture somebody sitting here, somebody beside me, and the 4 of us are going to have this conversation. So here's what I want you to do, is just sort of find out, to just how to take I guess we could use one of these. Let's use these travel checklists again. And we got some on in our resources page. And if you don't have anything that kind of matches, just take this, flip it upside down, and just write on the back of one. Okay, if you've already printed off some things, I'm perfectly happy with that, because I'd rather have this step kind of nailed down. When I say like a food source generality or direction, okay, we'll see what everybody likes about them. Say, for example, if I wrote Mexican food or Tex-Mex, because I know people are going to say Mexican food's different. I know, I've been to Mexico. What's going to happen is that some of you are going to say, "Oh, I love Mexican food. I get the burritos," or something. It's like, okay, burritos. Does everybody else like Mexican food? And if there's one who's like, "I don't care for any Mexican food. I've tried tacos, fajitas, burritos, all those things. I just don't care for it." It's like, okay, let's go on to the next one. Asian food. You know what I mean? What do you mean by Asian? Because Chinese is different than Japanese. I'm just saying Asian in general. Let's see, do we have something? And if, say, 2 of you love hot pot and the other 2 don't, obviously that's not a good mix. But if all of you love sushi, all four of you know exactly. Well, I like California. I like rainbow roll. I like anything with eel and unami sauce. Oh, give me that stuff. Okay, fine. We know Asian sushi, and we'll draw a circle, or we'll put 5 for 5 out of 5, whatever it needs to indicate to your group what that is. And if they go to barbecue, and everybody loves barbecue. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're going to go barbecue. What about Italian, guys? And 2 of the 4 doesn't like Italian. It makes them burp up all night. It's like, okay, fine. We won't do Italian as a group. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So what about, and then you name another food source, something like American. This is where burger and fries come in. Just about all of us eat those. And, or say, for example, okay, within burger and fries, what about the major players? The McDonald's, the Wendy's, the Hardee's, or if you're in the other part of the country, this is like Carl's Jr., you know what I mean, Crystal's. The places you see on the side of the road, the Sonics, you know what I mean, different places that's kind of a KFC. These are like major companies. They're found almost entirely throughout the U.S. and sometimes even other countries, all right? This is what we're going to do. You're just like, okay, where's everybody out? Sort of 4 out of on a scale from 1 to 10, 4 to 5. KFC. And they could be like 1. Be like, oh, not a fan. Okay, the other one might be 7 or 8. Okay. You know what I mean? But because 1 scored it so low, and don't chastise this person or that person or this person. Don't be like, come on, Heather, you got to get with the program. You know, nothing like that. Don't be a bully. Just say, okay, fine. Hardee's, you know, McDonald's. And if everybody out there scores 5 out of 5 out of McDonald's, just circle it. Be like, all right, McDonald's. That's a good one for all of us to go in. Because trust me, if you're on the interstate and there's about to be a line because some doofus decided to drive with his phone all crazy, then, you know, you're going to be either sitting at McDonald's or out there on the interstate, right? And it's like, I'm going to find the first exit I can get off on, and we'll go hang out at McDonald's for a little bit. We'll look on the pages, you know, like I mentioned in other lessons. We'll see if we can't get an alternative route around all this garbage. If you can't, then just hang out and have some fries, you know what I mean? Do whatever you need to do to kind of pass the time before it's open on the interstate again. That also means you're going to be further back in line. I know that. I get it. I would rather be somewhere with the ability to get more food or relieve more food, if you know what I mean. You have to pee and poo out there on the road. It's a little different, isn't it? I don't want to be sitting, an hour and a half back in traffic and have to be like, guys, I need to go to the woods. You know, it's like, really? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? And you have to go do your business out there in Mother Nature land, if you know what I'm saying. Give me a McDonald's over that any day. So what I'm saying is that sometimes having a good group of foods that you know you like as a group, you know what I mean, and a brand within that food. Say, for example, you look up Asian, and the person that didn't like Asian when they said Asian, if I said, okay, say the words Fu Lin's, Panda Express, you know, companies that have an Asian-inspired dish, that they might be like, oh, well, hold on. Now, I like China Express or Panda Express. It's like, oh, okay, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, maybe 3 or 4 out of 5. Okay, good. That means Asian's back on if Panda Express is being out there. And to be honest, sometimes I like Panda Express just as much as some of these other companies, right? And it's just that's the way it goes. So when you're traveling, if you can find one of these places, it's really easy. They're a franchise, so they're on Google, and you could find a place and just look for Panda Express near me, and hopefully you'll find one that's in, say, 18 miles. There's, an exit that'll take you across the highway a little bit, but there's a Panda Express down there, and we can all eat there. You see what I'm saying? So what you're trying to accomplish. So that's going to be really good for what I would call lunch times, because keep in mind how you eat, or what time allotment do you have, which is part of another conversation. You need to get everybody in your group, you know what I mean, to say, what time do you usually eat breakfast? Like for me, it's really early, 6 to 7 a.m. For somebody else to be like, I don't have to be at work till 11, so I don't even eat at all until 10. Okay, I guess that's fine. That means whenever it comes to your hotel rooms, you need to be down there pigging out on breakfast, and you're probably going to drive a while before your other friend is even hungry, because you know what happens. The people that don't eat at all are like bothered that it takes so much time for those that do eat to eat when they see it as unnecessary. We're wasting time by letting these people gobble up food. So how your team perceives eating, I happen to be somebody who eats usually early during the day. Between 5 or 6 is when I'm eating like dinner. Some people, they don't even get hungry till like 9. That means I'm going to need to probably, if we're going to check into our place, if we can, I'm going to need to get some food before they do. And then once, of course, you're in your hotel, they can go wherever. So this is where that's really coming in, okay? So usually things during the day, you can either snack inside the van or car or whatever you're renting or you have to go on your road trip with. That's usually where this is mainly coming in. During the breakfast time, that is usually where people are either meeting to go on the trip in general or their hotel room. Now, if you stayed and watched our additional lesson or haven't got there yet, there's going to be another lesson like this. It's an extra. How we teach people to go about picking out places to stay. I usually always include you need to get places with a buffet or some kind of breakfast, okay? Because keep in mind, I eat early. The people that sleep late, let's face it, I'll be showered and cleaned up and eaten before they even wake up. You know what I mean? But they like to get up and they like to get kind of going and then out on the road before they eat anything. Sometimes that's a good way for Mikey Doo to eat 2 breakfasts, if you know what I'm saying. Because nobody likes to eat alone a lot of times. But I'm kind of like are you interested in second breakfast? And I'm usually like, yes, I could eat an additional breakfast so you don't feel lonely. See, I'm doing it for you. No, I'm just kidding. So talk amongst your group and see where you converge, which is good, or collide, which is bad. So how do I find these areas of convergence to where I want to meet downstairs to eat breakfast, 7 a.m. We'll agree the night before. Let's meet down. You set our timers on our phones to go off. We can meet down here. Or if you don't want to see each other ever, then I'll eat at 6:30. You know what I mean? Or I'll go at an odd time or bring the food back. Because sometimes when you're in the room or car for a long time, you don't really want to see them all that much. So, or that much. You're going to see them here in a little bit for as much as you want to. So that's a good way for you to have alone time. There's been times I'll be honest, I just got out, I got my breakfast. I love my family, don't get me wrong. And my wife is usually always right there with me. But there's times I just like hanging out looking at car tags to see where all the people have come from. And I'll just be walking around drinking my coffee, my old styrofoam cup, or whatever. And I'll just be drinking coffee, walking around the parking area, just hanging out, just doing my thing. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this one has Alaska tags. I wonder if they drove all the way from Alaska. You know what I'm making? I'm just having this internal dialogue. Everybody else is like, just let him go. So, whatever makes your routine something, then just find a way to get that in. At the same time, whenever it does come time to leave, everybody has to agree, we're out of here at 9. I'll be knocking on your door. Get up. You know what I mean? The whole team agrees we got to be out so we can get to the next place by 10, and you know how it goes. When you're on a road trip, you don't have just all day to mess about. You got other things you got to do, and food is one of those things. So first thing in the morning, if I don't get my coffee and food, I'm hangry. I'm hungry, angry. I need something. My head hurts. I could have some caffeine, all that sort of stuff. And I'll go either somewhere next door if they don't have something. So whatever you do, find a room. That's what I mentioned in places to stay. Find you somewhere with something close by. And generally, all major hotel chains have something next door or in their hotel where they offer some kind of breakfast, all that sort of thing. Now, in the afternoons, you can talk as a team and say, okay, how do we want to do food in the afternoon? Let's just talk as a group. Do we want to go as a group? Which is what I always recommend. And if they're like, no, I want to do my own thing. I want to be able to go to these other places. Sorry, but I've seen you guys all day. I want to go to, and that's fine too. Let them do it. Okay, it's nothing against you. It's just they want their own alone time. If that's the case, then the rest of you that don't want to have that kind of alone time can also go somewhere. So if there's 4 of you, one of them wants to do their own thing. That means 3 of you need to do something. That doesn't mean that all of 3 of you need to do what that person said, okay? It just means that you guys need to have some kind of agreement so that when it comes to time to eat or something else you want to do, that if you guys want to stay together, that's perfectly fine. If two of you want to go to the Asian sushi bar and you, well, are just the odd man out, well, you're either going to have to go in with them, even if you don't like it, or you're going to have to do your own thing. So it gives you the freedom now to say, well, what would I like to do? And you can get on there and say, ooh, there's a place down the road that has an all-you-can-eat donut bar. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that. I've never seen an all-you-can-eat just donut place. But anyway, especially at night, too. So whatever you could find close by that you like, you could just go do that. But first you need to kind of associate which ones, because no one, let's face it, food is such a personal thing, you know. And if you're at a place that has foods you can't stand, and you have to smell it and look at it and then try to eat it or something, you're just not going to have a very good time. And sometimes whatever makes your stomach hurt, you know what I'm saying. There's some things that people can eat that makes their belly hurt, and it's just not a good idea to make somebody have to pick from something that's going to hurt them. Even if they're trying to make good, you need to be vocal. So if you're one of those timid kind of persons, it's kind of like, I just like to stay small and I'll just eat whatever. You know, no, don't be like that. Let everybody's voices be heard. And if they do let their voice be heard, and they don't like your favorite food, don't take that as a slam, okay? Say, okay, we're adults here. This is what I would like to do. Is anybody else with me? And if nobody else is with you, that doesn't mean necessarily they can't go with you. But, try to find a way to facilitate everybody and yourself so that everybody kind of gets what they want to do. It's like, well, what if we all just split up and went our own ways for dinners? And they might be like, yes. Or, no, I don't feel like that, Or they might just go to their room and say, what kind of room service do I have? And they might just all sit in there and in the room and eat whatever comes up from the kitchen, right? You know what I mean? Or sometimes they'll have like a Uber or Lyft or one of those type companies has a food delivery thing. So that can also be a possibility. So you'll see these little things under your door or something like that where you'll have a little menu where some company is like, call us, and it's usually like pizza or something like that, and we'll run you something to your place. So you might not ever have to leave. That would be really good. But if you can find out who all likes what at what level, you could generally find if, say, for example, a certain type of food does come available, or it's kind of known for it, like Chicago-style pizza, or New York-style, or Detroit-style. There's like a lot of different places. It happens to be that here in Tennessee, it's barbecue. Memphis has its own flavor, and then, of course, the Carolinas have a mustard base. And as you go from Memphis to Bristol, it starts morphing, and it's like the whiskey thing. It's Tennessee whiskey and barbecue sauce a lot of times go together. And the barbecue itself, because we're kind of known for hogs and stuff like that, it's a really good place to go have that sort of mediation of what's good. So like what I mentioned in another lesson about Nashville hot chicken. If you're in Nashville, you need to have Nashville hot chicken. If you're one of those persons that's like, I'm only going to be here once, might as well do the deal, and we go to Hattie B's or Prince's or something like that, and you get some of that scorch your face off chicken, which is something I mentioned a little longer than I anticipated in another lesson, okay? So try to do that for your foods. And if you like snacking in the middle, of course, I've mentioned this in another lesson where I said it way better than I'm going to here. Try to be cognizant of everybody around you. I brought up the Funyuns because Funyuns, not only do they have a smell, they also have a crunch, crunch, crunch sound as you're eating them. And if that drives your buddies insane, then probably need to wait until you're back at the room to eat those, okay? Because that's punishing 3 people so you can be happy, and we don't need to do that. Don't be a kind of a ball hog, if you will. You know what a ball hog is, If you're a sports person, you're a basketball player. You don't ever want to pass it. You want to shoot every basket, and that's just not a good way to play as a team. You need to be able to do things as a team in order to win. And so I just don't have a very good opinion of people that are Like, we're going to go here. Why? Because I like it, Okay, you can go there. No, got to go as a team. It's like, well, you don't need us to make you happy. Yeah, I do too. I'm so bad. Everybody knows somebody like that alpha kind of person. If you're one of those kind of people, maybe you shouldn't go. You know what I mean? I'm just be honest. It might be mean, but maybe you shouldn't go. Because I find a lot of those alpha people pretty much make the whole trip terrible for everybody else that went. If you ask them, well, I had a great time. It was all about me the whole time. It's like, no. That's a terrible person. So let's not go there. Let's be a mediation type people. Let's be compatibilist, all right? So if a person here wants Bob Evans for breakfast and somebody else wants Hardee's, well, they're almost the same price. And everything at Bob Evans and Hardee's is very similar. So even if they don't agree, both of them would be like, oh, I love Hardee's, this and that. And oh, okay, well, I love Bob Evans. Can we pick one? Well, this person might be like, I like pancakes, like really good ones, and be like, oh, Bob Evans pancakes is definitely better than Hardee's pancakes. So that might be like a place that you kind of look at and go, okay, there happens to be one next to. That's why I bring it up, But if there's a Bob Evans across town and a Denny's next door to the hotel, I'm going to Denny's every time because there's not enough difference between Bob Evans and Denny's. There's not a whole lot of difference between Denny's and Hardee's a lot of times, but the IHOP Denny's kind of combination there would be more facilitating for the four of us. You see what I'm saying? So you might have to take within a brand or something and look and say, well, this is a lot more convenient. Convenience is like, I would much rather it be convenient for me and not time away from where else I'm going, just so I can get, something slightly different. So that's what I'm trying to say. Try not to be so dark, just dialectical that you just cannot stand. If that's the case, then maybe you should do your own thing. Get up early or whatever at night. But first things first, have the conversation. Like I've mentioned, put you down to different things: Mexican, Asian, Chinese. I don't know. Well, Chinese is probably Asian, but you know what I mean. Barbecue, pizza. Just go through and name all the different stuff you could imagine. And it's actually kind of fun. I love this, actually. I usually just travel with my family, so we already know what we like and don't like. And we can kind of go through there and check off. Also, keep in mind with foods, this is also snacks. So if you're a crunchy person, you're going to want stuff like, probably fruits, whole fruits, all that sort of thing. So you're going to need to stop at like a Love's or a Buc-ee's or some of the Pilots, different. You can't really find this at just your normal run-of-the-mill gas station. You're going to have to find something, even if you have to stop at a supermarket or something like that in order to get them. Keep in mind stuff like bananas stink up the place because you got the banana peel, and we don't just toss stuff out the window. Apples have an apple core, you know what I mean? But grapes are consumable all at once. After you're done with the grapes, there's no more grape anything. So sometimes if you're one of those kind of people, kind of keep in mind the rest of the people around you, even though you're trying to tell them, I'm eating healthy. You know what I mean? That's true, but your food scraps aren't healthy to us when we have to sniff them this whole time. So even though you could be eating healthy, it still could be troublesome for the rest of the group if they have to smell your stinky old apple core or banana peel, especially banana peel. I don't know what it is about a banana peel. Oh, man, those things they get horrid fast. There's 6 hours later, it's just black. It's just nasty. It's not very good. So I tend to kind of warn people away from those kind of foods. But so keep in mind, food, how to select food, what to do in meals. All of this could be a simple conversation if you just have everybody over one night. You could do them all at once, for example. You could talk about where to stay, what to do for points of interest. We'll talk about that. And, of course, with food, just any kind of other additional item that you need a group conversation to kind of find out where everybody's at. But a lot of it comes down to how early do you get up, when you eat, eating timelines, eating schedules, all that sort of thing. And it's like, could we balance it out? Like, for example, if I was on a road trip and I'm like, what time do you usually eat? Like 5? Okay, that seems a bit early. Then it's a fight's coming. Okay, what time do you want to eat? About 9 p.m. That's when I go to bed. You go to bed way too early. Those kind of judgment remarks probably don't need to be there, but you do need to probably talk about them. Because, as soon as I hear them saying something about my timeline, I get a little peeved about it, right? And everybody does this. So we want to keep the feelings down and say, okay, fine. When does everybody else do? And if everybody else goes to bed at 9 or 10, then, and you ask me, could you stay up till 10? I probably could. I could probably stay up till 10. I can't stay up till 2 in the morning. So if somebody's like, it seems like every little thing's starting to show that he doesn't like anything or she doesn't like anything we eat, she doesn't like when we get up, doesn't like when we go to bed, maybe this person shouldn't probably go. Because the three of us seem to have a whole lot more uniformity between the three of us. So it might just be that we need a kind of a late season change if it looks like this is just going to be a problem and they're not willing to go to step into that. Now, if they're a nice person who's like, yeah, it seems a little early to go to bed for me, but I can always go to the lounge. The hotel we picked has a bar, so I can just sit at the bar. I promise to get up early. I have no trouble. We'll stop a few drinks in, and I'll come back to bed. Hopefully, I'll have a good conversation, with somebody there at the bar. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Or if I don't eat, say if everybody else eats at 6 or 7, and I eat at 5 or 6, I could probably wait till 7. It's not going to hurt me to make that kind of move. So that's what I want to ask in this other part. If you can find yourself kind of flexible enough to move towards what's better for the whole group, that'll be better. Now, it might be that everybody's wanting to go to this restaurant that's an hour and a half in traffic away, and it naturally puts you behind. That's a little different story, but if it's just a bar that's, next door to your hotel that happens to have really good food, there's no reason why we should drive all over town trying to make everybody happy when we can all just go make do with the place. Just try to be happy-go-lucky, okay? That's probably the best way to say it. So if you could find some of these metrics on how to find food, knowing you're going to go at a set rate. This is also presupposing that you know exactly where you're going to go. You're down for it. That's going to make a whole lot more sense on parts you need to take out. And of course, keep in mind, they've also got the same homework. If you're watching this and you're not the team leader, you got homework too. Tell us what you like to eat, when you like to eat, all that stuff that you can eat. Don't ask a person with celiacs to go out for pizza. You know what I mean? It's just not fair for them. Or if they're, I don't know, if you're a religion that can't have pork, you know what I mean? Then inviting them out to the barbecue place, where even if they don't eat it, they get beef. They still have to smell the pork, and that's a little bit insensitive. I would say that if you know that about your person, that's probably something to talk about even before you go. Also, if you're like a strict vegan and you take them to the all-you-can-eat meat place, that's obviously going to be a little against their values. So they either don't need to go with you, they could sit it out at the hotel, or you know what I mean? Or you could find something a little bit more accommodating for the group that happens to have a vegetarian meal in with whatever you like to eat. So whatever your group composition is made of, just try to get along. Okay, that's probably the biggest thing I can say right now. If you can't first question whether or not you need to take each other on a trip. If you find that no matter what, I love this person so much, we're going to make this work, then find a way to make it work. Have the communication between you, all that sort of thing. But food is a big one. How to find food determines on what your lists are. It also happens to be the budgetary concerned. Some people can go eat $100 a meal, no problem. Some people, if it's over $10, they got an issue. If you have a person that has no problem spending the money, who just says, I'll just pick up the whole check, I'll write it off on my taxes or something, do that, please, okay? I love it when other people take me out to eat and I don't have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a cheapskate like that, but there's certain times where they got the money, they don't care. They can always do something creative with it. So, and I'll order what I want to eat. I don't care if it's $50, $70. They're like, fine. I was going to spend more than that on me anyway. I don't care. You know what I mean? Money's not an issue. If you're that kind of person who says, you know what I mean, let's go. Once you're on this trip, no matter what, I'll pay for a lot of it, or the two people will pay for the other two more than some of the other ones because they happen to have it. If that's the case, by all means. But don't also use that, well, if it's my bill, you got to go where I want. I understand that, but I think I would rather have a little bit more communication and synergy between all of us so we can have that cohesion more than I would to have this conflict, if that makes any sense. So don't let food be it, but of course keep in mind Google Maps is also going to show you where things are. Once you get that list made, then all you have to do is sort of Google where it is, and it'll take you. You can write it down beforehand. You can put it in your notepads. We're going to go here, here, and there. This is the possibility of foods. Now, you might all love McDonald's, and it's your top place, and somebody might be like, I don't know about you guys, but I want chicken strips. And they're like, oh, you're right. Oh, I love chicken strips. And you're like, does anybody like Zaxby's? And it's like, oh, I love Zaxby's. And then you just throw this part out of the window. You're on the phone trying to find Zaxby's because all four of you love Zaxby's. And just one guy or girl or combination of a guy and girl or whatever says chicken strips. And the other one starts loving the idea of them Zax sauce. You know, I'm just saying that if you find it the last minute, just go with it, okay? Food shouldn't be that hard. But for some reason, food, because we have such an emotional connection, I just love food. I do love food. It seems like it's all I ever eat anymore. I know, bad jokes. But if you can find all those areas where you already know because of this conversation on what you do and don't like, or what you like but somebody else might hate, and so having those good safe places, if you will be able to tell you what kind of foods that you can pick from and places that tend to go really well. If you have to, just go through there and just find list of top 50, just Google that, and you could find all kinds of different things. Now, also, depending on where you're staying, there might be an awesome place to eat that just happens to be famous for that particular food. Like if you're going to see the Jack Daniels tour and you go to the Jack Daniels, facility there in Lynchburg, and you like barbecue, oh my, is there some awesome barbecue places. If you like just about anything else, you might have some trouble. There's Mary Bobo's. It's kind of right there on Sand. It's more of a southern place where you can have family-style chicken, and it's a real good place. I definitely recommend it. But if you're looking for just about anything else, it's really hard to find in Lynchburg. So if you're going to do the big, long tour at Jack Daniels, and you're going to go out to eat afterwards or before, and you want somewhere local, it might be a little bit more difficult to get certain foods. So you might have to just pick barbecue because it's what's there. And it's because Lynchburg's a relatively small town, okay? They just can't stack every sushi bar and hot pot and let's see what else, something Vietnamese or like a real trendy Italian place. There might be by the time you see this, there might be an additional restaurant. It's just not at the time when I went, okay? But you have to be somewhat selective within a very small parameter of foods. I'm just saying it like that. So your variety isn't much. So what we're trying to do is pretty much match the variety with places, maybe some companies that are found within that variety that you happen to really like as a group. If we can get all the places that are 5 out of 5, you won't have no trouble. And if all those places that are 5 out of 5 are on your list and you get to them in the time period your road trip is lasting, then you're going to have a really good road trip with food. So this is going to be my advice on how to go about finding food on a road trip. Anyway, we'll see you guys in another lesson just like this one.